So when my wife Missy and I were newly married, we had gone to the grocery store for one of the first times in our marriage. We were going to a Kroger in Memphis. And I remember we were nearing the checkout and I said, oh, we forgot to get waffles. Can you just go back and get some frozen waffles? That would be great. So I get in the checkout line. She goes back to the frozen waffles and she brings back this box of waffles and sets it on that little conveyor belt. And I was aghast. It was a box of generic frozen waffles, which is clearly not what I said. What I clearly said was, can you go and get us some waffles, some frozen waffles? That's what I said. And that is not what she did in my mind. Because in my mind, what I really said was, will you go and get us some frozen Eggo buttermilk waffles? Okay? But that's not the words that came out of my mouth. And I was disappointed. I was frustrated with her. I couldn't believe she would make such an uninformed, unwise decision that went clearly against my desire that had clearly not been communicated or expressed. We're 25 years old, new to this marriage thing, had a lot to learn, but I learned a little something about myself in that moment. It's important to be clear and specific about our expectations. Sometimes we think that people are just disappointing us when the fact may be maybe you just didn't communicate very clearly. I remember a little bit later in our marriage, a year or two in, I was a little bit insecure with my own self. Especially marriage can kind of let that crop up easily in those early days when you're really interacting with this other person on such a deep level. Your insecurities can just bubble right to the surface. That can allow you to deal with them, but it can also be very troubling and disturbing. And so in my insecurity, I would ask her this question pretty often. What are you thinking about? Maybe she's thinking something negative about me. I don't know, but I want to know what's on her mind because I don't feel okay if I don't know what she's thinking about. You see how insecure that is, how enmeshed that is on my part? And so she would tell me what she's thinking about, of course. And I would listen to what she had to say, and sometimes I would like what she had to say, and sometimes I wouldn't like what she had to say, of course, right? And ultimately what I found myself doing was criticizing her thoughts when I asked for her to share with me what she was thinking. And she would share something and I would be like, oh, why would you think something like that? That's not a very good thought. Well, don't you think such and such and such and such instead? And then I would ask her another time, sometime later, what you thinking about today? Had no idea. I was absolutely clueless, still am to some degree. What you thinking about? She wouldn't say. What you thinking about? She wouldn't say anything. And I'd say, well, why won't you tell me? And she would get quiet. And I knew something was off. And it took me a little bit of time, and I don't know if she told me or if I came to this realization, she probably told me, that if you're going to criticize people when they give you what you ask for, they may stop giving you what you asked for. See, I thought the problem was with her, but again, just like with the waffles, the problem was with me. I needed to be able to deal with my own stuff. It's okay to not know what she's thinking all the time. She's probably not thinking about you, big guy. She's probably thinking about a million other things. It's okay. You know what, Matt? Spend your time also thinking about other things. It's okay. And when someone shares with you from the depths of their heart what's on their mind, you need to be receptive. You need to be open. You need to be complimentary. And I realized those couple years into marriage, if I want to know what's on her mind, then I need to receive her answer with warmth and grace, even if I don't like what I'm hearing. And that is very hard for me, to hear something I don't like to hear and to not go, hey, well, that's wrong. I'm just a fast thinker. And some people are just not fast thinkers. And so we start talking all around them and dominate that because we're enmeshed and we're trying to reel people back in, not for them, but to make us feel less anxious ourselves. And so if you are early on in marriage, then it's time to learn to self-differentiate, to not be enmeshed, to be able to understand that you are two different people. And it's okay if you don't see eye to eye. It's going to be all right. And you don't constantly need to know what's on their mind. But if you do ask, then receive it with warmth and grace. And also communicate very, very clearly your expectations. Do not get upset with someone when they do what you've asked, because you didn't tell them the whole story. Take inventory. Replay the conversation in your head. What was it that happened versus what was it that was said? Maybe I didn't say all that I needed to say. And that allows you to actually become a better person. It actually allows you to become a better communicator. It actually allows you to become more objective in the way that you're looking at things, so that you can grow as a person, and so that your marriage and your relationship with this other person can grow even deeper as you become someone who is vulnerable and someone who is safe to express your inmost thoughts to, who is able to own their own part of the problem and the system. That's our word for today. I'm going to put another video up on the screen for you to watch. Hope you take a few minutes to check it out. And this one is especially for the guys. Y'all take care.